Hello, and welcome to another edition of Potluck, your everything and anything talk and entertainment TV show. My name is Laura Hartman, and I am your host. Today we have some very special guests joining us who are involved in a nonprofit organization to help save animals or dogs from shelters that are about to put them to sleep. The shelter or the project, the company is called Empty Shelter Project. So please welcome to the show. We have Rachel, Amber, and Tara. So welcome to the show, girls.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So tell us about how you got involved with starting Empty Shelter Project.
Amber and I have known each other for a very long time. We grew up together and we just always had a huge passion for animals. And then we got involved in volunteering for rescues when we were about 16. Mm-hmm. And then from there, we really got into it. So we both kind of told each other that we wanted to start our own rescue one day.
Okay.
And then when we were 18, we did. So.
Okay, and that was in 2011?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, great. Now, let's introduce the puppy dogs. We have Lulu, right? What kind of dog is she?
Lulu's a healer mix. She's about 1 to 2 years old. Okay. She's very cute and charming. And she really has a great personality, like a good mix between cuddly and energetic. Mm-hmm. She loves to chase things. Mm-hmm. And sprawl out. I love her freckles. She just has a really cool coat.
How old is she?
She's between 1 and 2.
She's
showing off. What are you doing? You're showing off?
You're next.
And she was rescued from Louisiana. I believe she was taken in as a stray. Okay. So we don't know too much about her past, but we do know her future, hopefully, is a great family.
Oh, great. Well, hopefully a good family for all the dogs you rescue.
Right, right.
And this is
Belle. She also came from Louisiana, where she had been used by the shelter to nurse like 5 different litters of puppies.
Wow.
And once they were done with her, they were just going to euthanize her because, you know, they didn't have a use for her anymore. So that's where we stepped in because she's so sweet. She's one of the sweetest dogs we have. She's about 5. A lot of people think she's older than that because she's prematurely gray, but she's got all the energy of a young dog, and she's really sweet and cuddly. She's fostered with kids, and she does really well with them and other dogs, and they have a guinea pig, so she's just an all-around happy girl.
Nice, nice. And then we have Yin at the end with Tara.
This is Yin. He's a Corgi mix. He's about 8 months old.
Aww.
And he came from Louisiana too with his brother Yang, and he's a super sweet one.
Great. So tell us about what's going on in Louisiana, because you seem to go down there quite a bit to.
Yeah.
I mean, just this past time that you went, you brought back how many dogs?
I think about 20, right?
20
Just
dogs.
about, yeah.
Wow.
I think like 18, 19, yeah.
Yeah, we usually try to keep it in the 20 range, but sometimes we get there and we have to like take extra.
Take all that you can
It's
get.
hard not to, yeah.
We always end up with more than we planned.
Right.
Now, do you go straight to like the shelters down there, or are there like foster organizations that say, hey, we're gonna give this to another foster organization? Or?
So we do go to one specific shelter down there with a very, very high euthanasia rate.
Okay.
But then also a big key of rescue work is not only to help the shelters, but help get dogs adopted from rescue groups. So dogs in rescue groups down there that are highly adoptable up here can sit there for like years looking for their own home. So when we help with other rescues, we really help the flow of shelter dogs to other rescues as well. So we'll take rescue dogs and bring them up here.
Okay, okay. And you were saying earlier that this area is very popular for small-sized dogs.
Right, yeah.
So tell us about that.
There's a really high population of people around here that live in apartment complexes and in very dog-friendly places, but it's just easier to have a smaller dog if you live in a smaller house. And so a lot of the dogs we get from Louisiana are smaller, on the smaller size. and they're great adoptable dogs. They just don't have the homes for them, and the mentality is a little bit different. So we tend to bring the smaller dogs up from Louisiana and rescue the larger dogs in shelters around here. There's not a lot of shelter dogs locally that are small.
Aww.
And you can see Yin is a little bit of a goofball. Yin, come here.
So why is it that Louisiana chooses, or why do they have such a high euthanasia rate? Or like, what is, I mean, if somebody loses their dog, like, how soon is the dog put to sleep down there?
As far as their stray hold, I'm not exactly sure what their stray hold policy is, but I do know there's just a really big lack of education down there about spaying and neutering your pets, about them being on heartworm preventative, paired with the city that we go to is also a lot of people are lower income, so they don't always have the money or funds to spay and neuter their pets, and then you end up with a very overpopulation problem.
Sure. Now, when you go down there, do you ever worry about, like, I know there are some shelters that put animals to sleep or dogs to sleep because of, like, there's like a cough or something that is a virus that goes. Kennel cough.
Yeah.
Do you, I know I've talked to other foster people and they'll take those dogs anyway, but shelters are more apt to, like, put them down when they could get better. I don't know.
Yeah, the shelter we go to, unfortunately, because they have such a large incoming dog rate, dogs get euthanized for very silly reasons. So if they start to sneeze or cough, they worry about it spreading throughout the entire shelter. So those dogs are euthanized. And anything typically under like 12 weeks of age is euthanized because they get sick so easily in the shelter environment. So they're really, kennel cough a lot of times is self-resolving. If not, they just need a couple of antibiotics. So it's really minuscule in the grand scheme of things why they get euthanized.
Sure. Okay. So, so when you bring them back up, when you go down there and you bring the dogs back up here, what's the next step? I mean, like, I know you go to, like, Pet Value on Sundays, because that's where I saw you, and they're great about helping you guys out.
Oh yeah, they've spoiled us. They're awesome. They donate food, treats, bowls, anything we need.
Wow.
Yeah, they've helped raise money for us to buy a van, things like that. So they've been really awesome, helping us kind of grow.
So we initially when we take them in, we have to get pictures of all of them. That can be a whole day. And taking pictures of moving objects is sometimes hard. And then we get them all vetted. So all of the dogs that come through us get shots and microchipped in case they ever get lost. And spaying and neutering is the most important thing. So.
Okay, so the shelter didn't do anything for the dogs down there?
They come with some of the stuff, like they'll, it depends on the dog. They'll already be heartworm tested, or they'll have, this or that. But when they come to us, we get everything that they haven't gotten done. We get all of that done.
So do you have, like, vets in the area that help to, like, support you guys?
Yeah, we use the Kinchelo Clinic a lot. It's a really great resource. It's located in Fredericksburg, and it's a low-cost spay and neuter clinic.
Wow.
Yeah, so if somebody doesn't have the funds to get their dog spayed or neutered, they offer it for very, very affordable. So everybody has access to it.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Really
I wish there was more around in this
rescues.
area where they did that. I know there's a place up in Baltimore where it's super cheap to do that. So.
And they do, like, vaccinations and like their vaccinations, I think, are like around $10.
Oh my
so
gosh.
just really affordable for people to take care of their pets.
Sure. Now, how do you guys deal with funding? People can go online and donate money, right? But I'm sure that's the challenge, because there's a lot of foster organizations in the area. So what, are there different outlets, or do you have people helping you?
Yeah, we try to do fundraising to help with the funding, because a lot of the dogs we get from Louisiana are heartworm positive, and we do treat them. So the treatment's usually around like $500 altogether for the dog.
Wow.
Yeah. So we actually have we're planning a car wash sometime soon.
Yeah.
Aw.
She's so sweet.
I know.
But we are always open to like different fundraising ideas and new ways to get the word out there and get people involved with the rescue.
Oh, great! Yeah. Now, you guys have a website. Do you have Facebook, and do you do all the social networking stuff? And when do you find the time to do that? Because I'm sure this takes a lot of time for you guys.
Yeah, thankfully we got Tara on our team last year. She's so great with technology.
Okay.
Amber and I, we're kind of like hobbits. We don't know anything about computers, so.
Tara pretty much runs our website.
Yeah.
She made it from the ground up. She made
nice.
everything on it, so.
And, yeah, it helps a lot. And our Facebook page, we have a good following on our Facebook page.
Okay.
It's just, if you look up Empty Shelter Project on Facebook, we really try to update as much as possible. Sometimes we don't have a lot of time, so it'll be like 1 in the morning where we're like uploading stuff.
Yeah.
But we try to get it all done.
Wow. So when you bring the dogs up, do you just deal with Louisiana, or do you deal with other states as well? You go anywhere where you're needed?
We've been to Louisiana, West Virginia. We've been local. We just kind of go where, you know.
Where you're called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you bring the dogs up here, like, I mean, if you're bringing up like 20, 25 dogs, where are they all going for the meantime until you get them adopted out?
We have wonderful people that volunteer to become a foster parent for our dogs. And what that entails is that when we come up from Louisiana, they meet us and they'll take however many dogs they can home and just keep them until they get adopted. And it's really great having foster homes because the dogs are in a home setting. So if they need training, they can work on it with them. They can tell people, you know, well, this dog, she's higher energy, she needs a runner. We really get to know each dog's personality so we can find the right family for it.
Okay, and speaking of finding the right family, I know there are foster programs out there where it's kind of like hard to adopt some of these dogs. You guys go through like a rigorous like interview process to find like the right owners?
We do have an application.
I wouldn't say it's too
Yeah.
hard. It's just we just want to make sure they're going to the right home for them, and that the person adopting is getting the right dog, because we wouldn't want someone to adopt a dog that in the end isn't right for their home.
Sure.
So we have an application that you can fill out. It's pretty basic, like 2 pages, I think. It's just like basically, what do you plan on doing with your dog when you're out of town? Why do you want a dog at this time, and stuff like that.
Right, right.
Just to make sure they were prepared. We try not to be too crazy. I
Yeah.
know some groups really, really grill you, but we try to make it a good, positive process for everybody to go through, and not too easy, but easy enough that people that really want a dog can have one.
Right. Now, do you go to like visit these people's houses and their homes, and have you ever come across a situation where it's like, oh my gosh, no, they're absolutely not a good fit for this dog?
I can only think of one time, but that was like a mutual, it wasn't the right dog for the home. They knew, coming into it, he was a little on the bigger side, and they had, not a lot of land, and they, didn't have the time to walk him as much as he was going to need to be walked. So it was kind of like a mutual, I don't think this is the right dog. Right. Not necessarily this wouldn't be a good fit. But that's the only time we've had pretty good.
Yeah. We don't like search through people's cabinets or anything. Right. We just kind of hang out, and if everybody's happy, then they sign the contract that day, and hopefully send us some pictures.
Yeah, I was going to say, do they keep you updated on what is going on with them? And did you ever get attached? You feel like you get attached to some of these dogs, or you just want to like keep them?
Yeah. There's been a couple. Actually, there's one dog that I work at an animal hospital. Lulu's so comfortable right now. And she was abandoned. Somebody left her in a crate outside, and it just so happens I work there, so of course I took her in, and I was getting really attached to her, so I actually swapped fosters. so that wouldn't be so bad on me. But
Right.
I do have 2 foster failures at home that I had to adopt. Yeah,
We all have at least one foster failure that we
Yeah.
couldn't let go.
Well, it's not a foster failure. They're successes.
Yeah.
They are meant to be. They're meant to be in
we
your
just joke
home.
with each other.
Aw. So now you said, is it Yin's brother was just adopted out? So are they going to miss each other, or will they pretty much be okay?
I mean,
no, it's
they
okay,
weren't the best
Bubba,
of
it's
friends.
okay.
They had a little sibling rivalry going on,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I think they'll manage. They might miss each other, every now and then, but
Sometimes we get pairs in that we know they have to go together.
Yeah.
It'd be
Right,
awful to
right.
split them up. And then sometimes we get pairs in and we can see that they might blossom more apart.
Okay.
So it's just kind of a case-by-case thing. But yeah, Yang, it was Yin and Yang is getting adopted fairly soon. So Yin is still looking for his home. Yeah.
Aw. So what has been the most challenging situation or thing for you from starting this company or from the organization?
I think the problem with rescue work is that you really have to have a heart of gold, but you have to have skin like alligator skin.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Because you're gonna run into things you don't want to see. You're gonna run into people that don't agree with what you're doing or want to tell you to do things a different way. And at the end of the day, you just have to keep in mind, this was all started to save rescue dogs. So at the end of the day, if we're rescuing shelter dogs, then we're happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think also we're really big animal people. So that's why we started the rescue, but we're not the best people. So I think we've realized how much we really have to deal with people and sharpen up on our people skills. 'Cause we get along with dogs great, but yeah, communication with people we really have to work on.
Bark.
Yeah.
I think another one of the hardest things for us has been watching some of the dogs that we've had for so long that we know are great dogs and that, would make great companions, but we've had them for, almost a year now.
And you're just wondering, why aren't they being
Yeah,
adopted?
it's just really hard to find, the right home for, we have one
Right.
dog who doesn't get along with other dogs, so he's not necessarily the easiest dog to place. And it's just, really hard watching them grow up and rescue and wonder if they're ever going to find a home.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So, usually when people want to adopt an animal, they'll go to the shelter, like Fairfax County Shelter or Prince William or whatever. So, other than, I know you've been at Pet Value, I don't know if you go to any other pet stores or anything. How do you get the word out other than your website or social networking? Because ideally, of course the shelter is always great, but foster groups, you guys put so much heart and soul into it.
Right.
And you have great puppies.
Yeah, well, we always talk to people. Everybody we run into, we like to talk rescue talk, and we do the events. So we get a lot of public people that aren't even always looking for dogs. We get to talk to them about rescuing a dog, and maybe when they're ready to do that in the future. But it is really a gigantic group effort of saving shelter dogs. So we don't discourage people to go to shelters or it's really a nationwide issue that as long as you're rescuing a dog, we're happy.
Okay, well that's good. Now, do you have information on your website about about these dogs, pictures of the dogs, and if I were a new person, I never had a dog before, is there information for me on your website? Or another example would be, it's summertime and somebody has their dog in a car with the window shut. What do I do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Tara actually, she's a really great photographer.
Okay.
So
IT and photographer.
yeah, she's awesome. So she takes great pictures of our dogs, and then our fosters will relay to us their personalities. And we do post that on our website, on our Facebook page, and then we have 3 other database websites, Pet Finder, Adopt a Pet, and Rescue Me.
Oh, okay.
That really, those websites really help people looking for dogs and people to see our dogs.
Okay.
And we also have brochures that we hand out at our events that give you information about fostering, tips, you know, to welcome a foster into your home and stuff like that. And we're always happy to talk to like first-time pet owners and stuff like that and give them any kind of advice that they might need.
Right. Okay, that's fantastic. So have you guys ever thought about doing like a virtual adoption?
We're in the process of one right now, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know I have a lot of friends who, like me, you know, I work so much, I wish I could have a dog, but I'm just not home enough to be for the dog. I can't be there for the dog. I mean, I have cats, and cats are very easy to take care of, but dogs are like having a kid.
Right.
So, so I mean, it would be great if if you had like a virtual adoption where maybe you posted photos, or that they could adopt a pet virtually. And
that's a
support
great
them,
idea.
funding them,
It's a really great idea.
We've talked about that a few times. It's just getting it going.
And plus you guys are so busy.
It seems like as soon as we get more volunteers, then we get more fosters, and then we have like
more work.
More work. So it's hard. It's like a constant cycle of keeping up with it, and so we're always looking for people that really want to get into the rescuing and have great new ideas to really execute them. And you know, we love hearing what people have to say. Yin. Yin's
He wants to be all over the place.
Being a goofball today.
He wants to go all the cameras.
Where are you going?
He wants to go get people.
He sees people out there.
So what has been, I'm sure there's been a lot of rewarding things from doing this, but what has been like the ultimate most rewarding aspect of starting this project?
For me, I would say it's just been, you know, watching a dog that necessarily wouldn't have made it without us. Had we not come along, they would have been put to sleep or stayed in a bad situation, things like that. It's just been watching the little lives grow.
Aww.
I love getting pictures. Like every once in a while, somebody will send us a picture in the email and just give us an update, and that's so rewarding because we see them in the worst possible situation, you know, in the shelter. We've actually had a couple of dogs. I know one dog we got from Louisiana, the lady that organizes all of it, saw her just about to be put to sleep, like on the euthanasia table, and took her, and seeing her now, you know, going hiking with her new mom, and like it's so rewarding.
It's just awesome to know where they came from and then see how far they come. You know, dogs that everybody was like, that dog will never be a good dog, it's too scared, it's too this, it's too that, and watching them be put in a good situation, in a good home, and just grow into the dog that they were always meant to be.
Also, going to the shelter, just getting the dogs right from the shelter, that is the best feeling. Like just it feels like you're breaking somebody out of jail. Like we sometimes will take them all to like a dog park, and they'll just like run, and they're so happy, and it's just like awesome to see. It's really, really fulfilling.
Do you ever come across like where maybe some of the dogs don't get along at all? Like you've rescued a group and then all of a sudden like there's a lot of tension there. And what do you do in that situation? We have just like people, they all have different personalities. So we run into all different types of personalities. And some dogs don't get along with other dogs, or don't get along with kids, or don't like men, or don't like women, you know, and we just work around that. Thankfully, we have a good group of fosters now that if it's not working out in one foster home, we can kind of switch it over to another.
Or worst case scenario, they'll come to my house, but yeah, we still adopt them out. There's a perfect home every dog out there, you know. It's just finding the right person.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
It's okay,
Miss Lulu. She likes this one. She likes to tell other dogs what to do sometimes.
She's a dominant
yeah,
dog.
she's a little more dominant, but I think that's the cattle dog in her. They're bred to basically tell cattle where to go. So if something's out of place, she wants to put it back in place.
Now,
Miss Lulu.
have you ever come across, I'm sure you have, dogs that may have been abused in the past, where they're just really, you know, hard to, you know, you have to be really gentle and careful.
Yeah, we work with that. We get in a lot of dogs that are neglected, and sometimes a lot of times we don't know their story, so we can only assume.
Sure.
But also times, I know in one case when we first started out, this family, they could not afford vet care for their dog, and it had gotten really bad. The dog had mange. She was completely hairless. And thankfully, they called us, and in situations like that, I think people are very hesitant to ask for help because they don't want to be judged or they don't want to get in trouble, and it's really just the best thing to do to call us. And we came, and thankfully we had people donating, and we got the dog in shape and adopted out. So
so they gave up the dog for
they surrendered.
adoption.
Yeah,
They
and
actually had two of them, but the other one was a little bit less sick. So
Wow.
Yeah, but they got the help that they needed, and I know it was hard for that family, but in the end, I think it was the best situation.
Thing for the dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aw. Now, did the families find out where the dogs got adopted to?
Yeah,
it depends on the family. Some people, you know, it's really hard for them, so they don't want to think about it. They just kind of push it out of their mind. Some people will follow the story.
Okay.
Follow us on Facebook and stuff, and maybe even talk to the people that adopted them.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's gonna be okay.
begging.
The show's over now, just about. We're about to close up. So thank you again, and your website. No, I see you. The website is.
It's espnova.org, and that's the acronym for Empty Shelter Project, ESP, and then Nova, like northernvirginia.org.
Okay. And you can go on Facebook and look up Empty Shelter Project. Or just Google Empty Shelter Project.
Yeah, we'll pop up. And we love our Facebook followers.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. And if you're just joining us now, you'll be able to catch us on the web next week at www.potluck-online.org. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.